Good morning, my name is Joshua Mann, and the people group that I chose to focus on were Canadiens. And yes, I am wearing my hockey gear in order to show that I did my interview on Canadiens, and also Dr. Hildreth told us to do something a little exciting and that wasn't boring, and so I figured I would do this. I will take off my helmet for the video, so we can go about it that way instead. I interviewed 3 different people, James and Denise Benning. They are my girlfriend's parents who were born and raised in Canada, but moved to the States in 1993. Denise still has parents that live in Canada, and so she's still very familiar with Canadian culture there. The other person that I interviewed was Lana Aberrant. She is one of my training clients at Anytime Fitness, and she's proudly Canadian. She lets us know every time that any conversation could bring it up. And so she's been in the States since about 2000, I believe. Since about 2000, but also is still very familiar with Canadian life and culture. So I wanted to study Canadiens mainly just because I do enjoy hockey, and I have enjoyed getting to know more about Canadiens and things through my enjoyment of hockey. I started playing hockey when I was in 6th grade, and one of my friends, Justin Henley, was Canadian and played hockey, and that's what got me into that. And just since then, I've always wondered about the country and learning about it and different things like that. So that's sort of why I'm doing this. And there were 3 people that I was really looking forward to talking to about it. And so yeah, that's what I decided to do. All right, so some super interesting things. One, Canadians don't view sports the same way that we do here in the States. I love sports. Obviously, I just talked about it for probably too long, but they enjoy sports. They enjoy hockey, but their main push for kids, they're going to push their kids towards academics, towards doing well in school, before they would ever push them towards getting a scholarship to go play sports somewhere. I thought that was very interesting because all I know is, hey, you push your kids to excel in sports so that they could possibly make it to the pros, when really the chances of that is very small. But I thought that was very interesting. The other thing is, like, in the culture there, when it comes to religion, they would say that they're predominantly Protestant, or almost definitely Protestant, as Lana said. And Lana is an unbeliever, so here I wanted to hear her side on the religious part, also to open up an opportunity to share the gospel, and it did. But so they would say, like, they're a Christian country, similar to the U.S. would say that they're a Christian country, and she said it's not a, hey, you assimilate or you go home. It's, hey, you can worship as a Protestant. They have a lot of cultures coming in, and so, hey, you can go worship as a Jew or Hindu or Islam or Buddhist or whatever, and they really don't care. It's a very interesting religious dynamic because with how open they are to everybody, there are still, like, those cultural taboos that we were talking about in the social, of, like, if you're anti-homosexual or corporal punishment, or if there's racism or cigarette smoking, anti-feminism, anti-abortion, like, people are really going to call you out against those, because you're not being open to everything. You're saying no to one thing here, and that's a big cultural taboo. I found that very interesting. And then when it comes to, like, the economics and all the different provinces, which I didn't know that there were so many provinces. Lana and I walked through every single one and talked about all the different, like what they're producing, and where their main economic, or where their main income is coming from. And so, I mean, you've got some provinces that have tons of oil, like Alberta, where Lana's from, that, I mean, they're just pouring in, they just have a huge economy. But then you have like the maritime provinces of Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and New Brunswick, that they fish and that's it. And so each province's economy is on its own, they do their own thing. And then of course the federal government will control a lot more of the taxes as they go across the state. And in talking to all three of them, you know, they have universal health care, and a lot of people are like, oh man, universal health care, that's great. They really say that when you come to think of it, you have that universal health care, but the taxes that you're paying and everything else that goes along with it, it really doesn't help that much. And it's not as great as people would think it is. So I thought that was interesting, because I've always heard people sort of judging and talking about that, but when you have to, or when you provide that for everybody, then obviously the taxes have to be so high in order to support that program. So that was an interesting dynamic. You can be praying for Lana. I did get to share the gospel with her. I've been training her for 3 years and still hadn't shared the gospel with her, but finally did, and I drew the 3 circles and sort of drew a line down the middle, said, where do you feel like you're at? And she didn't really know. And so hopefully she's been sick since that time, and I haven't been able to talk to her. But hopefully we'll be able to talk again and see how she's thinking through things at all. So anyways, I hope y'all have a great day, and yeah, that's it. The ethnographic interview is over.